All right, good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 227th episode of Book of Hours, our first run on YouTube playing as the artist, and we're getting ready for some more determinations. But I think what I'll start with, I'll finish off the day, and the main focus of the day is going to be on just going through some of these packages and such, and maybe writing a letter petitioning for Silver Spin Treya. So I might try to get Numa, and I might... I don't know. We'll see how things go. Alright, sea strewn, salt snared stuff. We'll chuck the sand right away. It's really the packages that I'm looking for at this point. Phosphorescent scrapings we won't really have much use for, but I'll at least put that somewhere in the house. I think I was keeping those... Oh, yeah, I was, but I have more than I know what to do with. Alright, I think we can take another round of these too, so let's take the FET. I have too much. Okay, The Republic of Teeth, an eccentric political tract by Valentine de Wolf. Valentine suggests that rulers should be elected to govern by serpents, not their subjects, for the serpent, being cold-blooded in its nature, is incorruptible. Valentine's initial proposal is that a college of electors should subject themselves to the bites of venomous serpents, which he grades into tails, preferring the least dangerous, and should allow the resulting deliria to guide them in their choice of people's representatives. He becomes concerned, however, by the practicalities of ensuring equal quantities of venom in each case, and gets halfway into a proposal for using birds instead in the selection process before giving up mid-sentence. So these, if I recall correctly, were intended to recover my Wormwood Dream. And the Moon's Egg, the third and last volume of the Meditations of Abbot Thomas of the Abbey of the Black Dove. Abbot Thomas speaks of the coming death he hears in the sound of the waves, but rejoices that his blood will water the egg of the moon, by which he seems to mean the future. The last chapter was dictated, not written, by Abbot Thomas. When Thomas's old sword brother Trigeave returned to raid the abbey, Thomas had broken his monastic oaths and taken up arms to defend the abbey. The two of them had been mortally wounded. Thomas's last words are, "The wheel turns, the moon sleeps." Waiting on the... I'm pretty sure this is the first Forbidden Epic that I've... Oh, hang on. Enduring Reflection. Hold back. I'm thinking of a different one. Oh yes, I still also need to work with the Old Moment. With Keeper level scale, not Lantern, an Old Moment can lead to an Earthquake name. Let's get that out of the way now. I think we may need to go, excuse me, down below for this one. Still not enough. Okay. I think the Earth sign and then the hourglass will do the trick here. An earthquake name. Discern a potency of scale. Hill and hollow with keeper level scale plus an old moment creates an earthquake name. And what I'll do beside that in the reading room... Actually, I'll just use Ava's desk. I'll get the earth sign back. I don't really think we need to keep bugging Mrs. Kill anymore. I actually had another thought about, where are we? So I think I looked at her herbs and infusions and leaves and thorns, but I didn't actually look at insects and nectars. Okay, the big problem is obviously that's a low level one, so I would still need to find a big... Jesus. Well, actually, if I think of it... Central Peria. Alright, yeah. It turns out it was Lethe. Which makes me wonder if maybe Maricat is an Ink of Power, and it just happens to be... Well, you know what? That's not worth thinking about right now. So let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay. Makes me wonder what the other one... I seem to remember there was something about Tridesma Hyra, but I don't recall if it's... I don't think it's Grail or Moon. I'll hold off on making Maricat until I know that I need it. So, let's open up the tall parcel. I imagine that this will be some kind of drink. And I guess actually for this one we can, I can probably go to a desk now and play around with the Bells of Ease. So we already know what Edge and Forge provide. Oh yeah. So I guess it's really only Rose that I get out of this one. But at the very least, it's easy to know what the Rose one is. Speech the key. Language is the key. It was language that opened the doors of the Mansus. Without language, we could have no peace. Without language, we would still be beasts, worms, mud. Adds Rose and Sky to your journal. Replaces any other speech determination. Adding determinations to your journal makes it first possible, then easier to write a matching history. Well, the only other real option I have here is the one that I kind of picked an Edge one for, which is, I always keep using the Arab Plus for some reason. Take Disciplines the Scar, Bells of Ease, and I believe this is a Nillicant for me. Yep. The Encastum Terminale of the third history, it's the bleak white-blue of winter. It has spawned an itinerant order of secret celebrants who regard worms as semi-gods, who are sometimes called on to celebrate difficult funerals. So, language is a weapon. With language, we breach the Mansus. Without language, we could not have fought wars. Without language, we would still be apes, beetles, stone. And let's see if I can make that. Yes, I should be able to make a replacement Nillicant right away. No! There we go. Clarify the preparation into the Encastum Terminale Nillicant. And I suppose from there I should consider another book to read and open up. The Colonel's lessons and the Lionsmith's lessons have been unkindly and reductively rendered as stab versus thump. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. Okay. So we're going to throw this straight back in hopes of restoring... Yeah, there we go. Recall a forgotten crime of moon and winter. Okay, so really it's just the occult scrap that we're missing, and we're not going to get that unless we have the old newspaper, I think. At the very least, I don't really want to go through the trouble of finding out how to make it from a skill, if I can make it from a skill. So, let's... I wonder if I have any spare paper that I want to write on. I picked the one desk that makes me sad. I think I'm doing something wrong here now. Oh, wait a minute. Right. Porphyrion might also be used to compose a petition for the Labyrinth season if you can provide at least 20 of Nock, Rose, or Moon with no Edge, Heart, or Winter. Okay, so it's Nock, Rose, or Moon. Shaft is actually the best option here then. So we're not going to get that today, but I am going to... 20, huh? Well, 13 in practice, so we'll be fine. I wonder actually if we're in the Violet Chamber, I can probably just get a pattern right now. Let's read Advice on Containment. Okay, I've read this one quite a few times, so I'm going to skip Dirashu Quercum. This is partly just because I like to try and make a little bit more progress today. Now, Ava's Locks is actually kind of helpful, because I may want to make more Nillikant when the time comes. And more Schloss Jennings. Again, I don't think I'm going to do much with wine at this point, but we're not going to throw away a good wine. More phosphorescent scrapings, why not? I think I might have called that Regensburg bomb yesterday, but... I think we'll let those stay quiet, but I will open up another package. And here we go. I am the librarian of Hush House, and I have made a determination. If you're considering an Edge history, the first flower, white determination is relevant, or if you're considering a Grail history, oldest Grail is relevant. So we currently have 3 determinations. Speech the sword, we arose from the filth of the wood, and read the first flower. So I believe there is only one more determination for us to make, and that is which of the hours is oldest. Speak a half syllable and feel the beast stir half a coil. Everything comes when it is called, even the nightmares that trouble stone's deep sleep. And advice on containment. Thirza Blake discusses ways to keep wood things out of trouble and Mance's things in it. Thirza is irritatingly light on specifics, insisting above all that the duties of an adept are the duties of a host, and that a conjured spirit should be kept in as luxurious a vessel as possible. Thirza notes the similarities between the lantern-long habit of scrying, returning to the physical world, and despite their absence of a body, by entering a mirror or light, and Pomander's techniques for confining Mancis Long to mirrors. She wonders whether Pomander himself might be lured to visit Hush House if provided with a sufficiently alluring scrying. So this we need to rest on. And I feel like there's a gap here that I'm missing. Let's hope it's equally possible to forget this again. Let me just, sorry, I know I'm getting quite repetitive here, but so we've got the Old Wound, Enduring Reflection, Ascendant Harmony, Hive's Lament, Curious Hunch, Wormwood Dream, Horizon Sight, Didumos, Invincible Audacity, Wind and Waiting, A Forbidden Epic, an Earthquake Name, an Earth Sign, and the Occult Scrap is the only thing that I'm short on. Okay. Oh, I had an idea about getting Maricat. I'm going to save that for tomorrow, though. This is the Incastum Terminale, one of the great inks. Use it with your journal and record a history and fulfill your reason for coming to Hush House if you so choose. I have a few things I'm going to want to do soon, actually. Okay. Let's open up the container. Something rare. Krapk opened the container. Delight in your discovery. We will continue to investigate Crowcross Sands. And, the scary place. The sea caves. I'm doing this because these are the two where I imagine you would find things washing up. If I thought the Moor would produce another package, I would do that as well. Okay, now let's think about what gives me nectar. So there's the Irresistible Feast. There's Weaving the World. There's the Great Counterfeit. Although we don't learn too much from that. Okay, well, let's still go for it. So, we'll go to Ava's desk and read to get the Great Counterfeit. That one is... Was it the turquoise hand? Might be the Shredic Book of Suns. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Okay, so one of the things I'm thinking of is I know that with a lethe and insects and nectars, I can make the Maricat that I want. So I basically need 11. So with the health, I need 10. And then it's 5 after the... Or, sorry, let me just double check this here. Okay, so insects and nectars, so we get 5 with health. We get 10 when we add the Newman, and we're at 14 when we add the lethe. In fact, I may want to make more lethe in future, although we've got a couple hanging out here. So it's really just a question of adding the remaining amount with the matter, and we certainly have more than enough in terms of plants. Yeah, so sea holly is a good one. I think we'll be okay. Obviously, though, I need to wait for certain things to come in. So we'll leave the clouds aside. I don't have too much to do with that. Like I said, I did want to get the petition for Numa written. And then what else? Actually, there's nothing stopping me from writing that petition now. So, oh, sorry. Now that I have the pattern. Okay, so the vagabond desk. We'll add the pattern. We will take our preliminal meter. Write a petition that rhymes. And we will add the porphyrine. Okay, so perhaps I can write it on the hallowed antipoder. Okay, fair enough. Compose a petition to the beach crow. With proper arts and signs and the proper encastum, a librarian at the house might find a way to attract the direct attention of an owl. The beach crow has no dominion over Numa, no owl does, but he knows it better than some. Perhaps he will find the season. And so with that in mind, I'm also going to prepare an order. I think Cater and Hero gives me paper. No dripping. Okay. That's just in preparation. And it's got to do the trick, complete the order. The postmistress signs and seals the order and places it in the place that stamped orders are properly placed. Wait 3 days, she commands. So let's see what else the day brings for us. All right, this was the Great Counterfeit. The Shretic Book of Sons, a radically different text from any of the other versions of the Book of Sons, attributed to Hagar, Queen of Shur, Mother of Wolves, set down with reverence before the intercalate by one who understood what would come to pass. Apocryphal chapters foretell the means by which the Sun and Splendor and the Forge might circumvent the impossibility of their joining through proxies that are in some sense themselves. The Sun and Splendor and the Forge of Days could not be joined, but Sunset Celia and the Swan King could. This secret is the trick of it. More hollowed anthropoderm. Sure. Sorry, I said hollowed. Hallowed. Can't very well throw it away. Somebody... Okay, no new packages to open, so I think we will just wait. The thing that's kind of interesting about this is that while we want Numa to happen, there's only so many memories that I can build up for the season. So at this point here, we just sort of wait. Oh, hang on, but I do now have the Great Counterfeit. So what I was thinking about here was we do a health, then we add the Lethe, Great Counterfeit. So we're sort of stuck with insects and nectars here. And, ooh, 3 more. Okay. I miscounted, but Essential Perios does the trick here. So craft Maricat, brew the Incastum Terminale called Maricat. Oh, nuts. Sorry. I meant to check out the... Well, we'll read it again. We're kind of waiting for Numa anyway, so it doesn't hurt. The double up here doesn't hurt as much. Just as a reminder here, so we've got the Bee Silk Journal, the determinations that we made so far. So speech, the sword, language is a weapon. With language, we breach the Mansus. Without language, we could not have fought wars. Without language, we would still be apes, beetles, stone. We rose from the filth of the wood. Our ancestors were born naked in the roots of the wood. All we ever were has risen from that darkness. With our hands and our mouths, we shaped language from mud. With our mouths and our hands, we will shape our future. And red the first flower, the watchman's tree is the covenant that forbids knowledge to mortals, but permits it in the covenant houses of the tree, like Brankrug Isle. The red flower of Calyptra, the fire fueled by truth, was its first defense. Fire consumes knowledge, but fire also gives light. The tree is rooted in paradox. This determination was made with forge. It provides forge and rose. Be off with you, sand. Let's cue this up again. I'm not optimistic, but what are we going to do, right? All right. Happy to have the petition. The design is complete. To travel via the way of the lower skies, it must be sanctified, but with the proper seal, by one charged with the delivery of messages of import. And we got a fear memory. Okay, so if it's not clear what happened, because this is a fairly important detail. So if this ever reaches its destination, it might bring Numa. So Porphyrion was changed after the game's released. So the Incastum Terminale of the Second History, it's the glowing crimson mauve of the Secret Histories. Porphyrion was venerated in secret by a confraternity of corresponding Cluniacs and Benedictines. Use an Incastum ink with your journal to make determinations and record histories. If the hours listen, the world changes. Porphyrion might also be used to compose a petition for the Labyrinth season. If you can provide at least 20 Nock, Rose, or Moon, no Edge, Heart, or Winter at all, and a suitable writing material, which apparently is just ordinary paper. So you get started off with Nock, Moon, or Rose. So in practice, you only need to get 13 of those aspects. But assuming that you have the Porphyrion, this is of course why I made so many of these here. So if I was having trouble getting Hyksos, what I would have done I would have just kind of kept spamming Numa in order to be able to get the like just have the visitors cycle through. But we do need to still send this. So petition for the Labyrinth season. Patience. Thus the mountain awaits the fall of the snow. Thus Monday awaits the death of the weekend. Thus the postmistress waits for me to purchase the necessary stamp. So the postmistress must have a suitable seal to consign this to the way of the lower skies. The cost is 1 tin spintria. By a courier of the lower skies? The postmistress accepts the message, weighs the spintria, finds them both sufficient. I guarantee nothing, she tells me. Numa cannot be bidden, but now and then it has been successfully petitioned. So I kind of feel bad ruining the mystique of this, but there is no like 3 Spentria, you get Numa. It will happen when we transition from winter to spring. But just for those of you who are worried about whether or not this thing works, yes, you will get Numa. There is, so far as my understanding goes, there's no like roll to see if it goes through. There's the roll to see if Numa normally goes through, but if you petition for it, it will come at the end of the season. I'm sorry to sort of muddy the waters a little, or not muddy the water. I'm sorry to clear that with the if the mystery was interesting there, but I just wanted to kind of be clear in terms of why I was doing that. Obviously, we're waiting for something now, and I have a couple of things that I can do in between to make the not make the wake too terrible. But in this case, I am going to want to break down a few skills and turn them into something I can bring up to a higher level on the Tree of Wisdoms. Now let's see if I can bring in something for the Great Counterfeit. So, it's no good. Let's use the Reading Room. If we bring a lantern in, that will allow me to use the Uzult. Make a determination, glorious origin. Our first sparks of self descended from the light above the world, which we call the glory. Without the glory, we would be beasts in darkness, and the gifts of our past illuminate our future, which is eternity. So, of course, we've already made an origin about the filth of the wood. But our other option here is to take a look at... I was hoping for something with a little more moon. Well, I don't have it, so... Oh yeah, and we did that already, black the first flower. Alright, well, while I have this, I might as well make another Maricat. I wonder... I don't think it will let me add the Lethe, though. Nope. Okay. Well, that's something for me to deal with tomorrow, I think. I notice we're at the end of the time, and I've got a couple things to work out. So there's a few things that I would want to think about here. So one of them, I mean, if I can get the yellowed newspaper to build me in, to get an occult scrap, that's great. If not, I mean, we've got 13, I guess 14 if I, no, sorry, 14 and then 15 if I sleep on a memory. So you got 15 memories to get me started in Numa, plus whatever I can generate over the course of the season. I probably want to start stocking up on a few inks. Excuse me. So yeah, I'll have 2 Maricat unless I want to do something else with a Great Counterfeit. But honestly, this nectar seems to be my best option. It may make sense for me to take another Orpiment. So I'm thinking Orpiment Exultant, Nillicant, and Maricat would be the ones that it makes sense to have more than one on, because those are all aspects that are related to the unique endings for the artist. But the big event is going to be where I try to level up the skills. So just to be clear in terms of what I'm going to try and do during Numa, and I think this is a little too ambitious to try and get done for the one session, but I'm going to want Strings and Songs to level 8, Snow Stories to level 7, Sky Stories to 6, Stone Stories to 5, Oronoscopy to 7, Sharps to 6, Strings and Songs to 6, Pentiments and Precursors to 8, Wolf Stories to 7, Rhyme and Remembrance to 6, Orchids and Narcotics to 5. So I'll write all that out and figure out exactly. Maybe that's something for me to do over the the week. So that would get me every skill where I want it to be. Now, is that necessary for me to complete the game? No. So if I feel like I'm at a point where we can end the game in a satisfying way, I'm willing to sacrifice that. But the thing to remember here is that my goal was to try and fill out the branches of the Watchman's Tree. And what I'm particularly interested in here is because I actually worked myself into a corner on a couple of these, I think it would be a fun little challenge to see if I can sort of re-angle some of those skills in such a way that I am actually able to pull off this this navigation. So we'll see. Again, I'm not going to lock myself into to doing that the full distance. But I think it would be a fun little challenge to go through. And one of the things I'm going to prioritize in Numa is actually making sure that these lower level ones get leveled up first. So one thing I'll just double check, we've got, this is committed. So strings and songs we can break up. That's good to know, actually. So strings and songs, I'm going to need to make sure I keep a lot of heart and sky. And this is actually one we don't have a lot of heart and sky for. I'm just going to lose this next time I reset. But yeah, so the fact that I'm breaking up strings and songs already makes things a little more complicated, because I'm going to need to restore that with a bunch of, I'm going to need at least, so 1 to break it up, and then I'm going to need 4 to level it up. And I have 7, 9, which is not terrible, but that really only leaves 3. And, I'll have a pitcher of water that I can use to restore it, but it's still not a lot. So I maybe want to keep an eye on that. So I'll probably need more than 1 Numa, which of course means more than 1 season. But I think we'll be good. And I do have a pretty clear idea in terms of how the next few days goes. So we're not just like a couple of episodes away from finishing up, but I think hopefully from the determinations that we're making in the journal here, you can sort of see where things are going. And some of you might even have a guess in terms of what specific ending I'm going for. But there's a lot of endings in this game, so I'm not quite ready to talk about that. And I was debating about this, but there's actually a little batch of secrets that I think they're known about. I'm pretty sure if you want to know, like you can find out about them. But what I think I'll do for that episode is I'll say at the start, or like when I'm ready to do it, it's like, hey, this is a fun little secret that's not necessary for winning the game, but I'm going to show you something here, and if you want to preserve that for yourself, move on. Anyways, that's something I'll do at another time. But yes, I am going to get some sleep. I clearly need it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week with more determinations and perhaps a history being written. Until then, take care.